Wow, I never thought I would have to do this kind of video, but I'm really concerned, and everything has to do with AI and food blogging and where everything is headed. As somebody who's been cooking and photographing and video recording and recipe testing and writing about food and cooking food and thinking about food and dreaming about food, I think this really matters, and I have some really honest thoughts to share. If you don't know me, I have been blogging since 2018 and YouTubing, if that's a word, since the beginning of 2019. I actually really love sharing my family recipes, my German methods, and my German lifestyle, and all of my sourdough content, because my sourdough method is extremely simple and very unique, very different from pretty much how everybody else is doing it out there. And I just absolutely love sharing it. I love creating this community. And yes, it has become a full-time job for me. However, when I post a new recipe, when I record a video, I always test my recipes. I always make sure that the recipes are working, that they're easy to follow, that the ingredients are, for the most part, really easy to find here in this country. And I do spend a lot of time researching and creating the kind of content that I think that you guys like. But I also gotta be honest, I do use AI. I use it for workflows. I use it sometimes for research, and I know pretty much everybody's using AI these days, and I think I would really be left out and left behind if I didn't use AI for certain tasks. Now, for content creation, that is a whole different deal. And for recipe creation, that is also another whole deal. One thing that I often see is in Facebook groups, these AI food images, and they're clearly so fake because, for example, in this gooseberry example, all the gooseberries have the same shape, they have the same color, and they obviously look really fake. Now, why would we want that? I mean, is that the kind of food we would want to eat someday? Or are we just looking at it, and the content creators who are actually coming up with these photos, who are using AI to create these photos, I'm not really sure what they're doing. Are they trying to shortcut? Because I can tell you from my own experience and from my own workflow that photographing food is not easy. And sometimes it's particularly hard with the colors, and you have to work with the light you have on that day, or you have to use artificial lighting, and you have to make it look appetizing. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into food photography. And likewise, creating a video, there is the creation of the video, and then sometimes mishaps happen. I have to run back to the store, get new ingredients, start recording all over again, and then I have to edit it, make sure it is detailed enough that you can actually cook the recipe, but also not too long so that it feels repetitive or boring, and all of that takes time. So would you actually want to go to AI and say, I have these ingredients, can you make me a recipe? Or would you want to go to AI and say, I want to cook this, can you give me a recipe? And realistically, what is going on is that AI is going to use our recipes as a basis because it's scraping the internet, it's trying to find all the information, and yes, those are food blogs from real food bloggers who put in real time to create recipes, and then it kind of summarizes it. But we have also seen weird things like if your dough doesn't stick, you add some super glue. So how trustworthy is AI? I mean, would you trust it, or would you rather trust a established food blogger who's been blogging for a long time, cooking, recipe testing, to actually create an authentic recipe that works and comes out right? And then what do? You spend all this time making a recipe that's been created by AI only to realize it failed, or the ingredients were off. I think I've seen a video recently, or was it a recipe that called for 19 cups of honey? I mean, that's just ridiculous. I mean, common sense tells you that no recipe, unless you're cooking for hundreds of people and your football team, but no recipe needs 19 cups of honey. And then there's the authenticity. AI hasn't been cooking and hasn't made mistakes, and that goes into, for example, my blog post, recipe tips and tricks, where I say, well, if you do this, then that might happen, or, you know, beware of XYZ. And so these recipe tips and tricks only come from experience that I just cannot have. I know that technology is moving fast and we need to move with it. Otherwise, we are going to be left behind. But I think there is a distinction that we need to make. I think I wouldn't necessarily ask somebody, let's say my next door neighbor, to do surgery on me, because that neighbor may not have the training and the experience to do surgery. So why would I ask AI to create a recipe for me? Or why would I even support food blogs that obviously use AI food photos? Because to me, as a food creator, they look really unappealing. And I hope that you can see that in the example that I've given you, and you can really train your eye for what is an AI food photo and what is not, what is a real food photo. And I think the only way we can make a difference is by sharing our concerns, by opening up a conversation, by informing everybody, by educating, and also letting people chime in. I mean, ultimately, if everybody wants AI created content, AI created food photography, and AI created recipes, then maybe that's where mankind is headed. But as long as I'm alive, I want to make real food for real people with real methods and real sweat and tears and effort. But ultimately, I'd love to hear from you. How do you feel about it? Have you thought about it? Have you noticed a different trend? Have you seen AI food photos and thought, well, that looks off. That doesn't look real. And have you dabbled in AI? What have you found? I'd love to have this conversation, because ultimately I'm here because you're here, and if you weren't here, I wouldn't be here. I would do something different. So I want to continue to be here, and I want to continue to serve you, but I also want to stay current with all the trends, and that's why I would love to open this conversation. Let me know, are you scared? What are your thoughts? Leave them in the comments below. Anything respectful will get my attention, and I'll join the conversation, but also read the comments and see what other people, other watchers and followers have posted, because maybe we can just make that a community rather than me saying something and you talking back and forth to me. But it's like, I think it concerns everybody, and it concerns our future and where food blogging and food content creation is headed. Thank you so much for indulging me in this honest and transparent and somewhat vulnerable video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.